Hello everyone, we have here the two variants of the Cogiotec HPO030 options. In this video I will compare them for you and then show you the testing procedure I'll go through with every board. Before we jump into all of that, I would also like to mention the fact that they are meeting or exceeding the specifications of the original boards, which makes them perfect drop-in replacements. Okay, on the left we have the regular version, which has much higher sensitivity, but it continuously triggers the counter, which means that even if you don't have a signal at the input, it will still display something. In contrast, the N version has lower sensitivity but doesn't trigger the counter constantly, and this is how the original options behaved also. So if you want more compatibility, I would go for the N version. If you care more about sensitivity, like I do, then the regular one is going to be a good choice. That said, even with the lower sensitivity of the N version, it still has better sensitivity than the original options, so it's still going to be an improvement. Initially this had to be a weekend project, but it quickly became clear that that is not going to be the case, and I ended up going through many revisions. During that time I familiarized myself with what can go wrong with the boards, and now I'm making sure that none of those problems are present. To do that, I came up with a set of tests, most of which are performed automatically, which verify that the boards are properly behaved. The very first thing that I test is if it's oscillating. There is quite a bit of gain on this board, and if a component is out of spec, a solder joint is bad, anything like that in a signal path, then the impedance in the chain could be off and it can start oscillating. One tricky part about those oscillations is that they are often outside of the 3 GHz bandwidth of the board, so you have to look for them because they won't show up in any other test, and you won't find them by mistake either. To test for that, I place a near-field probe under the board and check the output on a spectrum analyzer. In this case, we are checking a 13 GHz wide spectrum, and we can clearly see that there are no oscillations, so we are dealing with a good board. Being the N version, and because the signal generator's output is turned off, we can see that the counter is not getting triggered. Once we turn the generator on, it starts showing us the frequency. The next thing in line is performing the automated test. This test performs a complete sweep across the entire frequency and amplitude range, while checking for the various issues that I have come across when working on this project. At the same time, it characterizes the board and makes sure that it meets the minimum specifications in the datasheet. Okay, let's start the test. This is going to take a while. With this test done, we can now compare the data that we just collected from the N variant with the typical data from the regular one. What we have here is the typical response of the regular variant in red and the response of the N variant that we just tested in blue. As you can see, the trade-off is real, so consider carefully which one you're going to buy. Regarding the lower sensitivity of the N variant, based on the information I have gathered online, I believe it's still much more sensitive than any of the other offerings available at the moment. In the past I would have finished with a VSWR test on the network analyzer, but I have since realized that there's no need for it if a board passes the automated test. You are welcome to visit cogiotec.com and find more information there. Also, if you want to receive notifications when deals are available, you might consider joining our newsletter. Thank you for watching.